I used to think I could fix anything. I was wrong. Written and narrated by Peter J. Merrick, A.K.A. Just an old fart trying to make sense of this beautiful and mysterious thing we call life, one lesson at a time. Apparently, this old fart finally figured something out. The awkward part is that it only took me the better part of a lifetime, a handful of long-term relationship, 4 years of living by myself, and enough mistakes to qualify for an honorary doctorate in human stupidity. I suppose there are worse degrees to earn. For years, I honestly believed I was becoming wiser. Looking back, I was mostly becoming older. Those are not always the same thing. One of the advantages of becoming an old fart is that eventually you stop pretending you knew what you were doing. Truth be told, half the time I was making it up as I went along and hoping confidence would arrive before anyone noticed. Sometimes it did. Sometimes it missed the flight. For most of my life, I thought I was pretty good at understanding people. Apparently, I confused observation with wisdom. I thought if I listened carefully enough, loved deeply enough, stayed patient enough, eventually everything would work itself out. What I never considered was that maybe, just maybe, I was the project. That thought never occurred to me. Funny how that works. I was so busy studying everybody else's map that I never realized I had been driving around with my own parking brake on. That takes talent. The last 4 years have been some of the quietest years of my life. No relationship, no rushing to solve anyone's problems, and no trying to be everything for everyone, just me, which sounded wonderful in theory, until I discovered I had to spend time with me. Apparently, I talk to myself more than I thought. The good news, I usually agree. 4 to 6 mornings every week I swim 1 metric mile. There are no emails, no phone calls, and no headlines, just the water, my breathing, and one old fart wondering why getting out of the pool suddenly requires a strategic plan. Somewhere between one lap and the next, something quietly dawned on me. I had spent years believing I was trying to help other people. I was wrong. What I was really doing was avoiding myself. As long as someone else needed fixing, I never had to look too closely at the fellow staring back from the mirror. That fellow looked remarkably familiar. Handsome enough, needed work. The greatest illusion I ever bought into was believing my purpose was to improve the people around me. What an ego. Nobody asked me, and nobody hired me. Apparently, I had appointed myself chairman of the committee for everybody else's life. Meetings were held daily. Attendance was terrible. One morning, while swimming, I started laughing. Not because something funny happened, but because something finally became obvious. Peter, you idiot. The only person who has followed you everywhere for the last 50-something years is you. Every success, every failure, every relationship, every wrong turn, every wonderful decision, every spectacularly stupid one. There was one common denominator, me. That was both terrible news and fantastic news. Terrible, because I could no longer blame circumstance. Fantastic, because if I was the common denominator, then I was also the only variable I could actually change. Apparently, this old fart had been carrying around the owner's manual the whole time. It never bothered opening it. Funny enough, the more I worked on myself, the less interested I became in working on everybody else. Peace arrived quietly, not because life became easier, because I finally stopped volunteering for unnecessary suffering. These days, I no longer ask, can I help this person become who they could be? I ask something much simpler. Who do I become when I am around this person? That question has saved me years, probably a little hair too. Although, apparently we are losing that battle regardless. These days I laugh more, mostly at myself. Turns out I have provided myself with decades of material. If you cannot laugh at your own mistakes, you probably have not learned much from them. If you are a man reading this, you do not have to carry the world on your shoulders. You are allowed to put it down. You are allowed to work on yourself without apologizing for it. That is not selfish. That is responsibility. And if you are wondering what 4 years of solitude taught this old fart, it is surprisingly simple. Like the person I spent decades trying to improve was never sitting across the table from me. He was brushing his teeth every morning. Apparently, he was worth the effort after all. Peter J. Merrick, A.K.A. Old fart. P.S. Still falling. Still here. Still getting up.